You're watching EVH and Gear TV, brought to you by Stewart Travel Guitars. See the incredible stowaway travel guitar at stewartguitars.com. Microphones for EVH and Gear TV are provided by Rode Microphones, and official Van Halen merchandise is provided by VanHalenStore.com. Here's your host from Ontario, Canada, EVH artist Eric Broadbent.
Hey everyone, it is the weekend. Happy Friday to you all. Welcome to EVH and Gear TV. We are live. Tonight I'm joined by my very special guest, Danny Gomez. Danny, how are you?
How are you?
Doing fantastic.
Everything like absolutely night here in Madrid.
In Madrid, and it's what time? 3 o'clock in the morning?
3 o'clock in the morning.
So first of all, thank you so very much for joining us at an hour of that nature. That's absolutely crazy. It's great. I know it, and it's never too late to talk gear, is it?
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. So obviously, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here, and obviously, again, too, for joining us at such a late hour. But as we jump into the show here, for some people, like you've got a lot of fans, people that know you in the industry and things like that. So there's going to be some people watching tonight that will know you, and some people that maybe some of the show regulars that might not know you. I'm wondering if you could kind of just warm us up a little bit, give us a bit of a background on yourself, kind of where you grew up and started playing guitar and stuff. And we won't really get into what you do for business yet. We'll save all that good stuff for later. But just give some people a bit of a head start on a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. I'm Danny. My first contact with the guitar I think it was kind of late because I started playing like when I was like 15 years old or so. I'm from a kind of very dangerous neighborhood, so the guitar was kind of escape. Everything was kind of hectic. On my family, we had no like music contact. I was the first. So I started with the guitar and was like, wow, it was a blast. I left pretty everything, my studies, the high school and everything. I said, you know what? I need to work to buy a Marshall Plexi.
Nice.
I started cleaning cars and doing that type of thing. I wanted a Marshall Plexi for the very beginning. So basically, I taught myself how to play. I taught myself how to design. I taught myself pretty everything. So I figured out everything from the very beginning. So I learned by my own way to what a chord looked like on a picture or wherever, and I did. And now it's like 25 years later, and I'm still doing exactly the same thing.
So you had an entrepreneurial spirit right from the get-go, which is fantastic. See, I think that's something that's we can share here a lot on the show, and just something to pass along in life. Having goals is a really, really good thing. In your case, some people want to travel around the world. Some people want to get their first car. You wanted that Plexi, and It didn't matter what it was going to take. Like, you're going to learn the skills of the trade to get it, and you hustled. That's fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah, it was quite an adventure. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's quite a difficult neighborhood. So it's like, wow, I need to escape this. I need a future. I need a Plexi. Yeah. And I know that doing that thing, I can escape from this.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of keeps you off the streets, out of trouble, and things like that. And I think that's where some kids these days don't appreciate what some of us had to go through, you know, to work to get our first guitars. And, you know, I mean, it's nice to reward your child or somebody with a guitar for Christmas or a birthday present or something like that. But you really have an appreciation when you know, like when I was a kid, I'd work in the corn. Like, I'm in an agricultural area, and we would detassel corn, and it was a horrible job. You know, like, you're getting cut by all the leaves all day long, spider webs, wet, rain, and an extreme heat. But, you know, my first year I did it, I saved up to buy a Sony Walkman, believe it or not. And even a Sony Walkman at the time was about 500 Canadian dollars, you know, which was a lot of money. And that was my whole paycheck for the whole year. But I loved that thing to death because I worked for it.
And that was freedom. It's like I own my own space between my ears, and I can decide my own music, and I can just walk home or work, and you can put your music, and immediately you're kind of on a video clip, something like that.
Yeah.
That kind of freedom it was massive.
For sure. I have a question for you. Do you still have that same Plexi, or did you end up selling it?
No, I sold. as a bad decision many years ago. I saw that.
We've all been through that. Every musician, I know for a fact, every musician that's in this chat right now, every musician that you meet and I meet, we all meet, we've all had those things where like, oh, I would give anything to have that back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That is my sunken treasure. But I'm sure that anytime in the future, I will find it and I'll get it back.
That's right. It can come back to you. I've had guitars come and go. It's happened a couple times. And sometimes we talk about trades. We take things to a music store, and sometimes us as musicians, we can do some dumb things. We really, really want something, and, we'll give a couple things to trade down almost. Maybe 2 guitars for a special set of microphones for recording or, anything like that. And people look at you and might think, man, that's a dumb decision. But really it wasn't. It was something you really wanted at that time. And, so what I'm trying to say here is, if people feel like they've made dumb decisions sometimes by selling a piece of gear or trading something, if it's for a good reason, it wasn't a bad decision.
It was for a good reason because I was trying to grow in terms of gear and try different things. And I had no money to get for the rack thing.
Sure.
I was in the head and cabinet and desperately wanted to get more sounds to be more versatile, and I wanted a couple of good racks with multi-effects and everything. So I thought about it as some kind of evolution. I needed that for my personal musical evolution. So it's not a bad decision, 100%. That now it's like, wow, man, I should be keeping that.
But you never know, right? You watch and somebody contacts you and says, hey, Danny, I saw that Marshall. It looks just like the one you had. Check it out. Here's the serial number. It's yours, and you can get it back. You never know.
You never know. I
have a PV Wolfgang I sold one time, and I regret it dearly. This is one of my biggest ones, and I know someday I can get it back. I know who owns it. I sold it. It's a USA PV Wolfgang, flame top purple, just beautiful, and it was the best playing one that I had, and I sold it very, very cheap. And I know I'm going to try to talk to the guy sometime and offer him an extra $500 on top of what I sold to him for, and see if he'll sell it back. And he didn't even really buy it for the guitar per se. He had a Purple Music Man, and he wanted it just to match. So wow. I'll try to find him a deal on another one, and I'll say, look, you can get this one over here, and I'm going to give you $500 more, and then then I can buy it back because I want it for me because it's special for me. I want that one back.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a cool story. Let's jump over the chat and say hi to everybody. We got a bunch of people over here, and I see some of your friends jumping in as well too. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us on a nice Friday evening. It was beautiful here in Canada today, in my part of Ontario. Carlo Santin, speaking of Canadians, is here. He says, happy Friday, everyone. Lyle Ketchum is here. Billy Shelton, my beautiful Nocturnal Butterfly, who runs the chat, and she's going to be posting your links all night long as well too. Jason Jessica's here. Mr. Fox is here. Bane Rocks, who's my son, running a fantastic YouTube channel over there himself. He just got finished a stream. Let me see here. Jason Jess says, heard your Helix preset with the EVH Celestion. It sounds killer. Oh yeah, I'll tell you more about that in the evening. That's pretty cool. Thank you for checking that out. Sean Pierce Johnson, that's your buddy, is here saying, Danny is the man. And Sean, I'm just learning a little bit more about you myself too. So I'm gonna subscribe to you on your different platforms as well. I saw your Facebook page tonight, so I'm gonna check you out and on YouTube and all that. So you'll have another sub coming. Carl Santin says, work and responsibility builds character. Hard work is good for us. I agree. I taught my boy to cut grass yesterday for the first time, pushing a lawnmower. And he was, as much as he didn't want to do it, he felt good about it after. It feels good to accomplish some things by working for it. Scott Roos is here saying, hey, everyone. Let me see here. Who else we got here? I hope I didn't miss anybody. Scott Roos says, beautiful Nova Scotia too, as well too. So we've got your website at dannygomez.net. Robert Ortiz is here saying, hey, everyone. And Sean Pierce Johnson says, YouTube is truly a family affair for you guys. It is. It is. We're a YouTube family for sure. So I want to get into the next set of questions here. We're going to jump back and forth all night to our friends in the chat. And this is a question I don't know. I have some hypotheses, some theories here, but I don't know the answer to this. Where does Eddie Van Halen fit in your wheelhouse as far as guitar players that you admire or kind of grew up, worshiping kind of thing?
That's a good one. I have to tell you that Eddie's in my absolutely top 4. I have top four guys that are the main reason that I ever started playing the guitar. The top 1 ever is Dr. Brian May. Dr. Brian May was a blast. Literally, he was like a meteor that impacted on my Virgin planet and was at the first hole. Bang! Immediately I decided, you know what? I want to be that guy. I don't want to play anything by myself. I want to be that guy. He's super cool. He played amazing, the top rock band. Dr. Brian May is number one. Eddie Van Halen is number 1.1. Mr. Blue Saraceno himself, of course, and Mr. Nuno Betancourt.
Nice.
That are my absolutely top 4. And I had the chance to meet 3 of them, and the only one that I'm missing is Big Eddie. But I'm sure the next NAMM will be meeting. So that is my top 4. Along my career and my musical life, I've been gravitating around all the planets like Ivan Martin and John Petrucci and Steve Vai and this type of thing. But that 4 tops are like on top, over the top.
I love that. I like the fact that you mentioned Brian May too, because I'm a fan. I don't know everything about him. You know, like obviously I'm connected to him because of the friendship he has with Eddie Van Halen, and of course, who doesn't like Queen's music, right? It's any hit that they have on the radio, you can sit there and listen to and not want to change the radio station. It's just fantastic music. I love his guitar playing. I've always loved that process tone that we'll talk about a little bit tonight, about some of the tone and some of the secrets to that tone. But it's really cool to hear him put on that pedestal, and I'm certainly not offended that he would come before Eddie Van Halen. I think that's very, very cool. And I like how you also said 1 point something, which is cool because they're so close, right?
Super close.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And Nuno gets talked a lot about here on the show as well, too. And then obviously, the people that you mentioned, they're guitar heroes, but it's nice to hear different versions of guitar heroes. We all have different ones, right?
Yeah.
But I like that. Very, very nice. It's a great share. So here's the next thing. Since how you admire Eddie very much, this kind of goes into my next question, and a nice segue. So Eddie is I feel a fantastic innovator. I say this a lot in the show where, you could take away Eddie's guitar playing and take away that legacy and just pretend he didn't even play guitar. Just pretend he was that guy in the shop that had come up with really good ideas with innovation. You're an innovator and an inventor yourself. What do you think of Eddie on the level of, forget about the guitar hero now, as an innovator as far as products and technique, yes, but even take the technique aside and what he's done for manufacturing?
Wow, a Strat guitar with a humbucker pickup is like mind-blowing. Bang! It was like a milestone.
Mm-hmm.
Or a Variac powered Plexi. Think about a British Plexi in the United States, and with the Variac to try to power the thing up, running the thing down is like, wow. What? And that guy he was really clever, not just as a player. He was like trying to find something new. It's like, okay, I can take a chisel and put a humbucker by myself. It's not perfect, but it works. So it's absolutely my type of thing. If you think about it, about the player I told you about, it's like Brian May. He made the Red Special for the same exact reasons with his father. Or Blue Saraceno, his father made the Dirty Boy amp for him exactly for the same reason. He was like bored of trying to get the Marshall amps repaired properly, and he decided to do the same thing on the kitchen table. The same thing that happened with the Red Special guitar. So it's kind of something is surrounding me in that mood of, if you don't have what you need and you don't have the resources, you have to figure out and do by yourself.
Agreed. And I think I hate to quote in the wrong direction here, but I think it was Blue Saraceno himself when he was on the show. I'd like to say it was him. We were talking about how, when Blues worked closely with his dad, his dad was inventing these things for Blues, and being so connected to his father. And with Brian, I'm sure it was Blues, talking about like using parts from his mom's knitting kits, like knitting needles or something like that for, I don't know what part it was, but just all these things. And look at that guitar. I mean,
wow.
Amazing.
The Red Special is some kind of the ice of the cake for me in terms of guitar making.
Mm-hmm.
The many different parts is like they use for all the markers on they use like buttons. They use a needle for the tremolo bar and 2 motorcycle springs for the tremolo system.
Wow.
It's like, wow.
That is amazing. Every bit of the family went into that instrument. And I know
Yeah.
later on we'll talk really in depth about this. There's going to be all kinds of goodies for the fans watching this, and I don't want to spoil too much. But okay, so just like with the the original Frankenstein of Eddie's, where's this guitar? It's mysterious, whatever. Some people in the world have had the opportunity to hold it. Have you? And I know you've met Brian, Dr. Brian May. Have you had a chance to hold the original guitar? Or is it still intact?
Is still intact. I have the chance of being in presence of the original guitar, but in his hands in Madrid, like 15 years ago, while I was playing in the We Will Rock You musical show. It was running in Spain for 5 years, and I had the chance the first time, in fact, that I met Brian. He came for a press release, and he played a couple of songs with the band and everything. And we met, and the guitar was there. It's like 15 years ago. After that, the guitar was some kind of restored by master luthier Andrew Guyton. But the guitar itself is intact. The same frets, the same tuning keys, the same everything. So it's very well made to survive all that many years.
Now, how do the remanufactured versions, like I don't know much about his guitars other than I think they're really cool and unique. I've never played one. I probably never will have the opportunity. I don't know where they're available in Canada. But how would you say the new remanufactured ones play compared to the original?
Well, I think that on my warehouse, I have one of the commercial copies that Grammy Guitar sent me many years ago. It's a baby blue one.
Oh, yeah.
And they're amazing guitars. They're amazing guitars. The main difference between the commercial copy by Grammy Guitars and the original probably is the tremolo system. You can find a Strat system on the commercial copies, and some kind of Bixby inside the body thing that is the original one. And the neck profile, clearly, because the original is absolutely a baseball neck. It's absolutely huge for a huge hand of a huge man.
Yeah.
But aside of that, it's pretty the same concept, the same scale, the same details. So I've been using that for a long time. And it works amazingly, and you can get the Brian May sound and the concept at the Barnes, trisonic pickups and everything, and you can do a very close impersonation.
I love that. Now, here, how would you describe this before you started doing some work with Brian May? And after we've done this question, I want you to kind of backstep a little bit. When you're talking about the We Will Rock You, I want you to kind of tell our viewers some of the prestigious things that you've done with artists over there. You did that as well. You can expand on that. Some of the other artists you've worked with and produced and things like that. Like when I listen to Brian May's tone, and we've got a couple comments on his tone as well too, and I'll get to those in a second. I hope I don't get flamed for saying this, but I kind of compare it a little bit to the Tom Scholz kind of Boston Rockman sound a little bit. Now, what is the secret to Brian's tone to get? I mean, it's in the hands. Yes, I know that. It's given it as well. No one's going to sound like him without him. But it does have that very rich chorus. I don't even know if it's a mono sound sounding like stereo, but can you kind of explain to us what that secret is to his sound?
Okay, the thing is clearly the hands and the guy and this type of thing, but the guitar has an amazing impact of the thing. It's a very strange guitar because the original guitar is not made of proper good. It's kind of cheap good, like a sandwich, and later it has some kind of mahogany bending thing around and a mahogany neck with cavities so you can get proper feedback, and trisonic pickups were in series instead of in parallel like in a Strat guitar.
Okay.
Later, something kind of very interesting thing is the treble booster thing. Brian is always using a treble booster. It's like around 29 and 31 dBs, pushing the normal channel of a classic Vox AC30 amp without all the things that he's not using, like the treble, like the top boost channel and the vibrato channel. So you have only the normal channel that gives you probably around 3 more dBs of gain in the amp and some extra reliability. the turbo booster, and the guitar. And later, he started experimenting with more AC30. So he had one AC30 and a second AC30 just for the chorus. So he has the guitar, the turbo booster, the chorus, one side dry and one side wet, two different box AC30s. And later, he added 2 more AC30s for the delay. So you have the dry, the wet with the chorus, the delay L and delay R.
That's fantastic. See, I never knew that. I mean, I could be one of those guys that, oh yeah, I heard about that. I never heard that story. I didn't know that. So I obviously we all look to Eddie and a lot of other players, you know, a lot of session players in the rock world, you know, like the Steve Lukather's and people like that running, you know, even Steve Morse running like a wet, dry, wet rig. And it's a beautiful thing to do, but I had no idea. Now I know I did know he used multiple Vox amps, but I didn't know how he was using a one for delays. That's really cool to know.
If you check the classic Queen pictures, you can see like 2 or 3 4-amp rows. You can see 4 amps, 4 amps, and 4 amps. That is the reason you have the dry, the wet with the chorus, and the 2 delay ones.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. Well, that obviously explains a lot of the tone.
And it's loud, even with just one AC30, like on full.
Yeah.
And the second thing is absolutely loud.
Yeah, tearing your head off.
Yep, definitely. I can tell you in the flesh, I suffered that magic being like it's like that. Yeah,
this close.
Like,
yeah. That's, you know, it's funny, you get all these people that would say, you know, they'd love to be in the room with Eddie Van Halen recording the first debut album and things like that. It's one of those things where sometimes you say, you got to be careful what you wish for, because you get in a room, you know, around some of these amplifiers, and it's the experience of being there, but it might be one of the last things you ever hear because the volume is...
You're bleeding, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let's jump to a couple comments over in the chat. Scott Roos says Starfleet project was very cool. I agree with that, and off to my right, I have a nice autographed copy from both Eddie and Brian. I treasure it. I can't play it. I took it out of the vinyl one time, or took it out of the frame to play it, and it was whoever owned it before me. It's just destroyed, so it's not a player. But I've got the CD as well too. But it's nice to have. And Carlos says, he said, and this is fair, and you don't have to like everyone's tone. Carlos says, I hate to say it, but May is one of the guitar players whose tone I do not like. He says, I'm ducking now. He's ducking down. That's okay. Everyone's entitled to opinion. And Scott Roos says, definitely a signature sound, though. And Carlo agrees on that. And Carlo also says, it's pretty cool that Danny gets to work with such great artists. We're going to hear about that in a moment some more. And Sean makes a good point. Sean Pierce Johnson says, Brian and Eddie are 2 players who have uniquely identifiable tones. You don't question who they are when you hear them play. Now, here's something. I don't want to disrespect anybody in like a classical orchestra, but, you know, if you go see like an opera or something like that, and there's a beautiful orchestra playing, and, you know, everyone's doing a great job, but unless you know some of these, you know, violin players and cello players and things like that, and whatever, some of the horns, it just, to me, it sounds like classical music done very well and very loud. But your Eddie Van Halen's, your Brian May's, you know, your Slashes, your Yngwies, Paul Gilbert's for the most part, people like that, you hear that little riff, oh, that's Eddie, oh, that's Richie Blackmore. You just know, right?
No, absolutely. The guitar is a very particular instrument. It's like you can capture the tone very easily. It's not just phrasing. It's absolutely the tone. You can listen to Carlo Santana. I'm not a huge fan of Santana, but I love the tone.
Yeah.
And I think that when you're getting kind of veteran in terms of playing, the technique goes and come back, but the tone keeps unalterated all your career.
That's right. Yeah, it's almost like it's a fingerprint is what it is. You know, it's a fingerprint that stays with you. We can all kind of, you know, get close. You know, you can clone a fingerprint a little bit, look almost the same, and erase it with some Photoshop. But that fingerprint or the DNA that follows you as a musician, it's hard to lose that. That's why, like these guys, like the Eddies, the Brians, people like that, they can play on a Vox, AC30. They can play on a little Marshall travel amplifier, or they can play through a pig nose, and they're going to sound pretty much like themselves.
100%.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sean Close is here saying, "Crap, I'm late." No problem. There's no penalty for being late. Just go get a late slip and come back and join us. Nocturnal Butterfly is posting your official Facebook link, so people check that out. There's good stuff over there. Ron Padge is here saying, hey, happy Friday. So let's go back a step and talk about some. So you're elaborating about the We Will Rock You program you're doing, and talk about some of the artists that you've worked with before we get into all your company discussion and that. Just some of the things you've done with production over there, and kind of mentoring artists and working with them closely.
Okay. Well, obviously on top is to work closely with Preamp Productions and Brian May, and being involved with the We Will Rock You musical show. It was great. And after that, we have the chance to record with Brian May himself and Spanish adaptation of Too Much Love Will Kill You. And it was quite an experience to listen to the recording with Brian May guitars and my guitars at the same time. It was mind blowing. You can imagine that. It's like, okay, we were co-producing the thing, and I record the demo with my guitars just for the singer to follow the parts. And we sent Dr. May this demo version, but we added a no guitar version just for him to play whatever he wants. You can do your magic. And he kept my version and played in the gaps. And it was like, oh my God, it was too much. And the singer was outside the city, and the manager was outside the city, and I received an email from their studio manager and producer, that is Justin Shirley Smith, and I received that file that was Dr. Brian May guitars, just that guitars. And I was the first person on the whole planet Earth listening that thing mixed with my guitars, and I started crying. I have to say it. It was one of that moments in the silence of the night. I was in my old studio and say, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, press play. That type of thing, that type of moment.
That is amazing. I can feel it the way you're describing it, and I can see how one would cry over that, because it's something that is it's overwhelming. You cannot fathom it. So first of all, you're thinking to yourself, okay, this isn't even real. You pinch yourself, make sure that you have a pulse.
Yeah.
You know, but you know what? That's you got to kind of give yourself a nice little pat on the back, thinking, you know what, I actually did it. I'm actually on the record with him. That's quite an accomplishment.
No, it's exactly that. I have one copy of that record on my studio on a frame, just to remember and to be both proud and humble. It's like, okay, you was there. It was your place and your moment and everything. After that, he put me in contact with the good people of Brian May Guitar. We started working together. I was endorsed as an artist, and the last thing that I could imagine, it was like being me, one of Brian May Guitar's artists. And we started chatting, we emailed each other quite regularly. Last time they came to Madrid, I bring him one of my designs. He has one of the old models, and I gave him for his birthday one of the new 1964 Vox 8030 inspired preamps, and I'm super proud of it. So Brian May, of course, is one of my top artists, and having the chance of working close with Alex and Blue Saracino in this new preamp, it's been quite an experience, because we've been like online working and trying to meet every now. We've been working on this like 2 years, but it's okay, we'll be at now working, demoing, and we have to find like literally 5 minutes to get some tips, to get some ideas, to put them together and work online, because the original app is in the United States. I'm in Madrid, Spain, and the factory and the other half of the team that I will explain you later how our structure is in Turin, Italy. So we never had access to the original app that we were making a pedal inspired in. So it's a matter of feelings and structure and impressions and fun emotions to capture a thing without the actual thing.
Yeah.
It's quite an adventure. Another super pro moment is like, now I know that Steve Vai has one of my designs at his studio. We met in Madrid months ago, and I met his backliner and legendary tech Thomas Norther at NAMM, this last NAMM, and it's a super happy moment to know through his engineer that, no, you know what, we received the pedal, I know that. So it's like, oh, it's amazing. And lately, through the amazing marketing and artists departments at Orange Amplification, we have the chance to be involved with some of the most amazing hands in the industry.
Sure.
On every like guitarists and bass players and drummers and cello players and whoever you can imagine is like, oh my God, you can get that email, you can contact with that, but it's too much. It's too much.
That's got to be so hard to juggle, like you say, where manufacturing is over here, Blues and his dad are over here, NAMM is over here, Summer NAMM is even in a weirder spot, you know. So that's a lot of globetrotting, and that's not just your main gig, you know. You do other things as well too. So it's amazing that you're able to put it all together.
It's quite a busy day, so it's like my main activity is still playing and to be on tour and work with artists. We have two companies. We have a Toxic Prod that produce entertaining content. It's like we produce tours and records and work with artists, and I'm constantly on tour, directing and producing and recording and everything. But aside that, we have Massive Unity. I can explain you a little bit more about it. But this is a new company that we started in the UK that mainly does everything that Toxic Prod don't. It's like, okay, we have a company that produces entertainment, we have a company that produces technology and consulting, and it's involved directly with the musical industry. With the musical instrument industry, we can do pretty like everything.
Wow.
Everything.
So you wear two hats that kind of do everything.
Yeah, it's like they're long days. So when we chat the first time, you know what? But it should be like 3 o'clock during the night. I can handle that.
Yeah, I know.
I will be working till then, no problem.
That's right. Yeah, this is kind of a normal work day for you. Some days, I'm sure. Some days, not every day.
It's pretty regular. Today is Friday,
so it's not too bad.
We don't have my son today at home, so it's like, okay, my wife practice yoga very early in the morning, so it's like, okay, she has to go to bed early, so this is it's like kind of perfect night.
That's like, good. It works out. That worked out really well. That's fantastic.
You have some friends, you have some pedals and everything. We can handle that.
Oh, this is gonna be good. We're all set for a treat tonight then. We've over in the chat. Ron Padgett says, "Hey, happy Friday." I might have said that already. Jim Reed is from Stuart Guitars. He's our new sponsor for the show. Jim, nice to see you here. He says, "Hey, just wanted to say hi." Jason, wait, you got to take a look at his guitars. He makes one of the coolest travel guitars. It's called the Stowaway. Fits right inside almost the size of a pizza box. It's pretty awesome. Stratocaster style. It's really neat. Jason Wade says, good evening, EVH Gear TV, Nocturnal Butterfly, and Danny Gomez. Hope you've all had a good day so far. Yes, very, very good day. I was telling Danny, I was telling a couple of my friends here, I come down with a bug today. A bit of a flu thing was going on, and I was able to shake it. So I'm doing good. It's all good. We're here with a bunch of fun people. Sean Pierce Johnson says, whoa, I did not know about the design process of the Dirty Boy. And we're going to probably get to see and hear and learn more about that pedal throughout the night as well, too. Because that thing's fantastic. Yeah, he did the first review. Is that correct?
Yeah, we sent the first unit to the United States because we are on a sold-out basis. It's like that preamp is kind of long-awaited product, not just for us or product. It's like pretty everyone that I ever talk about this kind of amp is like waiting for the chance of having the amp or a part of the amp or the tone of blues flavor.
Yeah. And
with that idea. So it's like, wow, we can solve that. So we are pretty sold out all the time, even on pre-order.
Wow.
So it's kind of crazy. So we have one unit for the United States demo. So we send a unit, and this unit is running from review to review to review, and no one can keep it. Actually, so it's like, okay, you can receive that, you can have it for literally 2 weeks or so, and you can create all the content that you want, and you can use it for any other third-party demo. Wherever you have to demo a chorus pedal, you can do it with that for 2 weeks. But you have to send the unit to the next one.
Pass it on. That's hilarious. And then eventually it'll come back to you.
Yeah, so he created an amazing in extremis footage that is the one that I sent you.
Yeah.
Because we don't have time to create demos because we don't have units.
That's right.
It's like, boom, they're flying. We're manufacturing them in small quantities because everything is absolutely handmade or hand supervised, and everything is like top notch. Even the finish is ultraviolet painting, so everything is absolutely 100% top. Every component, every little detail. I think that is the perfect time to tell you about the process of manufacturing this kind of pedal.
Sure.
It's like the T.A.E. technology is something that I worked years ago, like, I don't know, like probably 10 years ago. I had a problem on tour with a classic box AC30 Preamp made, and I needed a B plan. So I came with this idea, and we moved from engineer to engineer. We're trying to give the thing a good shape. And by my own way, I sold around, I don't know, 400 units from my home.
Mm-hmm.
But I had literally no time to do things in that way more. And like, I don't know, 1 year and a half or 2 years ago, probably, yeah, we met that guy, Carlo Santin from LAA Custom. It's an amazing company. You probably guys know him from the Phil X Signature Overdrive, the Fat Jazz Overdrive.
Okay.
That is the man. That is the mastermind. We have some good friends in common, and we started with the idea of, we have a technology, you have a proper pedal making structure, and we both share ideas. What if we join forces together? We can create ideas together, you can manufacture them, and we have the proper structure to distribute them and put them on the most relevant hands in the industry. So we came with that joint venture between Massive Unity and LAA Custom, Danny Gomez and Carlo Santin. And that is how we're trying to like pushing harder and make better preamps and better pedals. And now I have some time for myself, because otherwise it's like absolutely super demanding just to come with ideas and manufacture things and sell the things and keep the customers happy and attend the fairs and have a life.
Of course.
This type of thing. Yeah. So it's quite a busy thing.
I'm going to jump ahead, way further ahead here, because I want to stay on the subject here, but it kind of pertains to something I had to ask you later. It's funny, you and I have been talking for a while, trying to arrange a slot for you to come on the show. And when I was telling you about different guests I had either on at the time or coming up, you're like, oh yeah, he's got my pedal. Oh yeah, he's got my pedal. Oh yeah, he's got my preamp, like that. Can you
a bunch of friends in common, I think.
Yeah, share some of the names of the artists that you that have your preamps, and at least in their rigs, or have used them before or still using them, and a lot of them have been on the show.
Okay, I'm not sure if many, but I think the good people in common. Of course, Alex and Blue Saracino, or the Tom Macer, Jamie Humphries. Jamie is one of my mentors. It's like that was the guy when I started reading magazines and everything. But this is the guy, and now I can say for sure that Jamie is a close friend.
Oh, that's nice to hear. I was going to ask you about Jamie, because I like Jamie very much too. I respect him. I really admire him as an instructor. So I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah, so he's great. He has some one of the old T.A.E. pedals, and I think that he has one of the most special ones, because when his daughter Astrid was born, he received an Astrid version, and there's no kind of signature pedals itself, so it's the first, and she was our youngest artist ever. So
that's funny.
For sure, yeah. Jamie Humphries, bass legend Danny Miranda from Blue Oyster Cult, Paul Crook, has won. Billy Moore received one of the first T.A.E. 3, and he will be in Madrid at the end of this year, so we'll be meeting, and he will be receiving a new one.
Nice.
Paul Gilbert, I'm not sure he remembers that, but like 7 years ago, we met in Madrid, and he received one of the first 5 prototypes I ever met.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the first 5. And Billy Sheehan received one like 2.5 years ago. We started chatting, and I'm absolutely positive to show him a base version that we've been working. And obviously, Dr. Brian May and a bunch of.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, Billy Sheehan, that's a good name that you mentioned there as well, too. I mean, not that Billy is separated from any of these other great players, but Billy's tone is known for preamps. You know, that's his mojo, you know, is that preamp, and he's very meticulous about that.
It is. The last time Mr. B came to Madrid, we attended to the sound check, and prior to our meeting, Billy was like setting everything up with his computer on top of the amps, literally checking every detail, and say, you know what, respect. It's like all the time that you need. I can wait just to say, hi, sir, how are you? But because you have to take the time for that. Absolutely, yeah, painstakingly onto the detail.
Oh, that's hilarious. I'll share a funny story with you that you may or may not know, because I talk a lot about on my other shows here on the Helix Hour. I talk a lot about the Line 6 Helix product. And so Billy is actively involved with that as well too. And the Helix team, the Line 6 team, were working with Billy closely when they could get a hold of him. And he's so busy with his, you know, with Mr. Big and Winery Dogs and all these other projects that he does, you know, it's just hard to get down into a room, right, alone. And one of the presets that they ended up making was a model after his amplifiers, and they actually called it Busy One because he is so busy. That's the name of the preset, right? That's pretty funny.
Yeah, he's absolutely busy as he can.
Yeah.
He's the busiest man on earth, but he's on top. He's on top.
Yeah, it's good to be busy, though.
I'm involved with different musician species. Now we've been chatting with cello players, involving the new technology that we've been like licensing and working with. And I want to be involved with singers and cello players and drummers and try to figure out more music to do together.
That's right. Let me see here. Sean Pierce says, you're going to have to pry this thing from my cold, dead hands. That's a funny one. You're going to have to go find her and get the pedal back. That's a good thing. When you've got reviewers, you know, fighting over pedals, that's a pretty cool thing. And, you know, it's kind of funny, you know, before YouTube really took off, let's just go back a few years. YouTube's been around for quite a while, but before it took off to the point now where a lot of people out there doing product demos, manufacturers would have to spend an absolute fortune on producing demos like you're talking about. So you're saying you guys don't have time to do the demos, and I can appreciate that. But these days, you don't even really have to. You know, if you know, you have a few artists that are working with it, and even if there isn't a huge artist attached to it, if you can convince people that you just need to hear this, you get it out to a couple of YouTube reviewers, and the job's done for you. You know, you don't have to invest a lot of money in it. It's nice when they come back as positive reviews, but these days, like you said, this is going to circle the whole United States, and it's probably going to go to all the big YouTubers, you know, and in the guitar magazines and all those kind of things. And I think it's going to be a huge success for you.
The thing is that I obviously understand that everyone's work has to be profitable in a way. It's like, you know what? We would love to have a proper marketing budget to cover everyone's fee and everyone could be happy. But at this point that we are not being our main activity, it's like we have this product. We'd love to know your thoughts. If you have the chance to try it and possibly create something to show the people, it could be great. But don't feel compromised. If you have the time, we can send you that. But if not, no problem. Just try it and send your thoughts. And if we, anytime in the close future, we can prepare a full production demo, we absolutely will call on you. We'll get the budget directly to you. But for now on, we're trying to spread the word and to get the relevant people kind of informed. It's like we're not waiting kind of Ben-Hur production.
Right.
It's like you can try. If you want to share with the people that follow you, is right. If you want to share, there is a crap and you don't like, is right. If you don't want to share anything at all, I won't tell anyone that you have a unit. So anyone is expecting anything.
Yeah.
So you can try. It's a sneak peek. You can try before anyone else, and we can enjoy the journey if you like it. If not, there's no problem at all. And we find the right people to do that kind of thing. So it's amazing.
I like it.
Absolutely grateful.
I like it when you watch a review and you just see the smile like a little kid. You know, like that's like, you know, I do product reviews too. So I mean, I know like about reviews, and I watch a lot of reviewers out there, all the famous ones I'm watching and learning from as well too. But when you see a person, a guy or a girl demoing a product and they're smiling, it's like, okay, you don't have to say another word. You can continue watching, but you know you're sold right there because they're like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, I love to see the people kind of excited with the product.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just being my product. It's any product. It's like it's new pedal day. Even it's just for the demo or you receive the unit, you want to try it. I can understand that kind of excitement. It's like, oh my God, it sounds great. I love that thing. I want to tell all my friends that it's something amazing. I need to try that. I'm not very into amps. I love the amps. I love the orange amps. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
When I travel, I try to travel light because of planes and everything. So I'm into pedals. Pedals is my madness. It's like I have a bunch of good guitars, but the things that I have the most are pedals. So when you receive that small box and you have many things to do with that, it's like, oh my God, I love that. I need, a full Sunday for that.
So you're thinking with having like really spending a lot of time on your pedal board, if you arrive somewhere and you can't have necessarily your orange amplifier, maybe you've got a Marshall JCM 800 or something or whatever, you feel comfortable with the pedal board and you can make do with maybe different amplifiers if you had to.
Yeah, the thing is that the new T.A.E. pedals
mm-hmm.
has emulated and non-emulated outputs. So I can run the emulated outputs with a cabinet emulation to my multi-effects units and send that directly to the PA system.
Okay.
And I can use the non-emulated output to any amp that I found. It's like, okay, if it has an effects return or a power amp in or wherever, this type of thing, I can connect that. So I have a wet, dry, wet rig on my mini pedalboard that is absolutely tiny. I can tell you more about that later, but it's absolutely tiny.
Oh,
it's
fantastic.
like 4 pedals.
Fantastic. Well, I got a question here coming in right now. I think this is from Nocturnal Butterfly. She says, no, this could be one of your pedals or maybe another manufacturer. What is your favorite pedal? One that you just cannot live without?
Now, the Dizzy Boy Preamp. In terms of being able to do my job as a professional player,
mm-hmm.
is like, for me, kind of the perfect amp in a box. But in terms of multi-effects, probably is the Evenide H9 that I use for everything with the pre and post routing. In terms of connectivity, probably is the Olmec Teleport. It's not a proud father moment, but the 4 pedals that I use, I can tell you now.
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
I use 4 pedals. A good booster. It could be a treble booster if I'm into the Brian May mood, or a flat booster overdrive like the Phil X overdrive, the Fact Jazz overdrive from LA Custom. A good booster, the DT Boy or the 1964 Preamp. The non-emulated output goes to any amp that I found. Good amp, good probably Rockerbird or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is perfect for me. And the emulated output goes to my Evenide H9 for all the complicated effects thing and algorithms and everything. And later it goes to one of my Olmec teleports to bring the thing again to a stereo thing. I can use it with my laptop or my iPad or wherever, and I can do anything else with that. And it's literally that big. It's like 4 pedals.
Man, oh man.
It's absolutely tiny.
I see that H9 in a lot of people's boards, and I'm familiar with it. I haven't tried one. I haven't used one. I've been intimidated by it because I've heard some people say that it's hard to program. Is it hard to program?
At all. It probably is hard to program if you try to do everything with the unit. It's not hard,
okay,
but it's kind of more tricky in a way. But we all have like a smartphone, and you can do everything on your phone. So it's like you can pair the thing through Bluetooth.
Okay.
And you open an amazing screen on your laptop or your phone or wherever, and you can do anything. You can even use like a touch screen to program things. It's okay, you know what? I need the delay in that side. I need the ribbon thing in the other side. You can program everything, store, and you can create lists. So it's like you have a rehearsal with your band, but you have a demo later, so you can have like a list of your preset for your rehearsal and another list with your demo things.
Wow.
And you have a backup. So you can get a new unit and you have all your presets on your phone and you can
dump it right onto it. Yeah, I like that. I think it'd be good for people too. Like if you're in a studio or even here like in an office situation where my pedal board might be 10 feet away, I could have the phone or my iPad over here and no need to reach over. What am I seeing? You know, play guitar and just grab your device and change it. That's really cool. I like that.
And you can be playing and the producer can be like modifying the delay thing or the tremolo speed or doing the tap thing. It's like, you know what? I will be doing my thing. You can take the iPad and do your thing. It's like, okay, you want more tremolo? Go for it.
Wow.
Until it bleeds. It's like, go for it. I will be playing my chords.
That's perfect. Yeah. Or another thing. Yeah, too. You could have someone like if you had a guitar tech or even just a friend, you know, a buddy that plays guitar. Hey, buddy, play my guitar for me. I'm going to go to the front for a second. I'm going to listen. Bring your phone. Oh, that's a little too wet, and adjust it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that.
100%.
Yeah, that's
cool. And it's absolutely safe because it has a code, so nobody with the app can be controlling your pedal.
Yeah,
because paired and securely paired.
You get some fan or some troll that wants to wreck the band, and they're in there and they're hacking in and changing their BPMs to like 300. You know,
and your pitch.
Yeah, sitting there playing like Steve Vai, high pitch, and it's a country band or something.
Exactly. But this is my perfect pedal board.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to look more into that one because it's been really intriguing me a lot. Before we get into some of the innovation and some of the inventions that we're going to talk about, we've hinted at them a little bit. Were you one of those guys as a kid, like I kind of was? I broke many things to find out how they work. Did you take things apart to figure like how, like maybe like a radio, how it worked to get this bug?
I am. I can. Yeah, you can swear that. And my mom too. I literally killed like, I don't know, 10 tape machines to learn how it worked and to try to create a delay or something like that. And later I put everything together and I keep a bunch of pieces and everything worked perfectly.
Oh, that's good.
And I keep 3 or 4 pieces every time and it works amazingly. But yeah, for sure. I literally like killed 3 or 4 of them.
But that's how we learn, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's how I got into computers. Computers has been my living now for probably the past decade and a half. And I destroyed many computers. I mean, when I first got into computers, the only thing I knew about them was how to run a Microsoft Publisher. And that's the only thing and then from there, I got into repairing computers and building computers and things like that as well too. So you do have to get your feet wet, whether it's guitar repair, getting in there, not being afraid to solder in some pickups or new volume pots and things like that. Trial and error. Hopefully you don't ruin too many things, but in the grand scheme of things, if you get good at your craft, you'll be making money that will long recoup that loss that you've had on a damaged product.
Yeah, but you know what? That is classic Eddie. I remember the Les Paul history about the 2 identical Les Paul that were new, and one was like literally destroyed, but it sounded amazing, and the other one like a museum piece. Yeah,
exactly. Destroying some of the most classic things. Yeah, Eddie's even been mad at himself for doing some of that, but look what he's learned, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. One of the first products, we're going to jump right into product territory here, and I think this is very, very cool. This really caught my attention. Now, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Is the OMEC, is that how you pronounce it? The OMEC teleport, or how would you pronounce that?
The OMEC teleport, the OMEC means Orange Music Electronic Company.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So OMEG was kind of a division of Orange created in the 70s. And believe it or not, Orange released the first digital amp ever in the 70s.
Okay.
It was an analog amp with the kind of digital management of the value of the pots numbers. But it was a good idea, but it probably was too early because the components was absolutely like expensive then.
Okay.
So to tell you a little bit about the story, is long story short, 4 years and a half I became partially deaf. I lost like 30 dBs in 1K on my left ear.
Okay.
It was a drama, but I got recovered after a week of very, very, very painful treatment. And believe it or not, I'm absolutely worried about the needles. You can see that I'm absolutely tattooed, but I hate needles.
A lot of us do.
So, yeah, to try to avoid fainting, literally fainting during the sessions, I start to think anything. It's like, okay, you know what? I love the most? Pedals. So I start to think about pedals. And literally I told my wife, Martha, you know what? Open your notes because I have an idea. What it's a pedal. Just take the note and say it's an audio interface on a pedal, 1 input, 2 outputs, a USB connector, USB-B female connector. So after a couple of weeks sending that note to one of our engineers, I received this.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the first incarnation. This is the grandfather of the OMEG teleport. But basically, you have an input, 2 outputs, and a USB-B female connector.
Okay.
So the only thing that you don't have is the bypass switch. I received that. I take that with me, and we went to our first NAMM show. Some meetings, some demos. We unveiled the Matt Bellamy cold guitar with this on top of a Laney amp, and nobody noticed that. But you see that demo, you can see that big black box and my iPhone on top. We worked with that and needed that true bypass switch and a little smaller enclosure, and we worked with that. We get that, so you can see that it became small.
Yep, it's evolving.
Yeah. So in that version, you have the same 1 input, 2 outputs, and a USB female connector. But a switch, so you can use it like a regular pedal. But the only thing that I love more than pedals is small pedal boards.
Yeah.
So I needed something even smaller. So I came with this. So you can see the evolution from the previous version.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So when I had this version, I was convinced that I couldn't find anyone to work with that and factorize at the level that I thought that the idea deserved. It's a good idea, but I wasn't capable of providing the proper structure of a good idea required. The T.A.E. pedals was good enough because it was something that we can handle. It's like, I don't know, but I think that we sold like 400 T.A.E. pedals before we moved to the proper factorization with Massive Unity and LA Custom. So I was sure that it was a good idea to try to find the right people. But being as busy as I used to, I keep my activities playing and demoing and everything. And like 2 years and a half ago in Birmingham, UK, I was doing demos for Mansell guitars, Mansell guitar with the MIDI screens and everything, the Matt Bellamy guitars, using Orange amplifiers as power monitors, like the Helix caps.
Yep.
That type of thing. And this version, this prototype, and the people of Orange Amplification, the international sales manager, came to the demo and we started chatting, the dinner, you know what, we see you demoing with our amps, but you're not using our preamps, you're using just the power amps, and we're curious. Would you mind to tell us more? Okay, we can arrange some time together tomorrow, and I will tell you more about that. I told him about the T.A.E pedals. I told him about the interface, because it has no name but interface there. Mm-hmm. And they say, you know what, could be very interesting if you can provide with some technical information. It could be great to discuss with the team, because maybe we could be interested in some no boundaries technology and go further in terms of maybe pedals, maybe that type of thing. I thought, wow, it's amazing. It's too good to be real. I will send that info. I will send that email, and I will, but I won't expect anything. And a week or so later, we received an email inviting us to London to discuss the terms. And we met in London with the whole team. The whole team means Cliff Cooper, that is the CEO of Orange Amplifier for 50 years. He's the top gentleman. He's like the James Bond of this industry. He's top of the thing. And we have the chance of meet Adrian Emsley, that is the mastermind of that old classic Orange Amplifier. That is, for me, is an absolute reference. We're not worth. And we met all of them, and I introduced the technology to our team, expecting in a way, you know, it could be great if you like that thing, and maybe in the future we can be doing something. Literally half an hour later, we were sitting with Cliff, saying, yeah. We went to the hotel saying, Orange Amplification will be manufacturing and distributing the interface, and it was my first license ever. It was like, oh my God, it was a good idea in the end. So I gave them that, and they give me that. So it's basically, yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Now, here's a question for you. First of all, that's like a Cinderella story that most people don't get to enjoy. It's pretty awesome. But were you worried, you know, as a young inventor, you had this great idea, and so many people, they get taken advantage of, you know, like, and it's nice that this didn't happen to you. But I mean, like, okay, so tell us a little bit about the technical information. You give it to them, and they're like, then, oh, we're not interested, and then they come up with something similar. Were you afraid of that a little bit?
I was for the first, like, year and a half, pretty before that Orange meeting, I was absolutely like worried with that big black box, the first now. Mm-hmm. I was not even worried to take it out my bag. I was in a meeting talking about this, and was worried to take this out of the bag. Wow. Because I was thinking, you know what, that guy will be copying that. But in the end, after 2 years and a half, along with the idea, I thought, you know what, I have to take a risk. I have to trust anyone and go with everything that I have. And I would say tonight, but when we met James Deacon of Orange Amplifiers, I saw that face and said, you know what, I can trust that guy. I can send you the files, I can open the thing, because otherwise I wouldn't have a chance of put that idea on the right place and being able to be at least relevant. Mm-hmm. Anyone can copy anything now. Yeah. But it's like, I'm more worried about my idea being on the closet forever than to be copied. It's like, you know what, I need this idea out and being able to take this wave. I need a wave. Otherwise, I will be the only person in the world knowing about this on my closet, and I won't take the risk. So I decided to take the risk, and it worked. It worked. And we found a family, and we are super proud.
You know, I love that story. First of all, I don't know a lot about Orange. I know the brand, obviously. I've seen a million people play it. I don't think I've ever played one in any of my venues where I played before with bands. You know, if it's supplied backline or you're borrowing the other bands, I don't think I've ever played one. I've seen them in many, many stages. But I respect the company greatly, and from the story you've told me, because of that. And I also think maybe that had a lot to do with maybe some of your success with the company after the fact. I mean, they could have just take that, made the deal, and you get a cut, they get their cut, and that's the end of the day. But now you work a lot more closely with them, an Orange artist, I believe, things like that. I think they probably look at you and are like, you know, this guy took a chance on us and he trusted us. There's that instant bond and trust, and I think that's come back to help you in the long run too.
Of course, and being Orange for me is the classic amp company, but knowing that they are open-minded and they wanted to have a new approach, it was like, oh my God, I think that is we found the right place. When we started the conversation, it was like, okay, you know, it could be great to be an Orange product, but it's not Orange. What if the marketing team said, what if we like recover that Olmec division that we had in the 70s, that was the avant-garde in the 70s, and bring that thing back to create the right space for a no boundaries product? What if? I said, you know what? I think it's a good idea, because the Orange universe is orange.
That's right.
It looks orange, but this is so kind of dark thing. It's like Stranger Things. It's upside down. It's absolutely digital. There's nothing analog there. So what if we create an alternate universe? I said, you know what? I like that thing. I can play in that playground. So this is my space.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Tell people in a nutshell what the teleport will do. Like, I watched a really cool demo. I mean, basically, a lot of people are raving over it because it's an interface that can run to your computer, still run to your pedal board, and integrate your pedals on your pedal board with the computer software. But I know I've explained it a little bit, but tell us what it'll do and why a person would want it.
Okay, the thing is it's called the teleport because it can teleport your tone and your signal from the analog world to the digital domain and back. So there are many things that you can do. Actually, it's the same things that you can do with a classic sound card or an audio interface. Okay, now you can do it on your pedal board. It's like, okay, you can take your guitar, and being a classic compliant product, it can be connected with to your iOS device, to your Android device, to your Mac or PC with no drivers, no codec, no latency at all. It's like 3-4 milliseconds or so. Wow. Depends on your settings or your machine or wherever. The pedal itself is like science fiction, the fast that it is. It has the right impedance, so you can actually play your instrument and feel like a real amp. If you're using like an amp simulation or whatever, and it has a buffer, so you can compensate all the cables losses, and it's like you have your instrument cable or your pedal cables and the USB go and back, and the two outputs that it has more cables and whatever, so you have the right impedance, you have a buffer, and you can do many things. You can use all the many amp simulation, wherever, like the native Helix software, that you can have all the power of your Helix on this space.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
Now here's a question though. So a lot of guitar interfaces, like I've got one from Apogee. I don't think I have it handy to show you, but one of those Apogee jams, and that's what I used to use. And as much as it's cool, you know, there's like a headphone jack on it, or it's actually a volume control, and it still doesn't do a very, very good job. Now, I don't see a volume control in yours, so how does your signal get at a nominal gain to the computer?
Okay, that's a good question. The thing is that we created the pedal as simple as possible, so you can do anything with your software. It's like you can connect the thing to your iPad. Okay. You turn the thing off, you have your clean signal. So you turn the thing on, and you can go for the nominal like gain with your software. and once you have your nominal gain, you can start turning things on and on, and you're into unity gain territory immediately. So if it's a matter of software, that way you don't have any problem, you won't have any volume control problem, it won't be like old, this type of thing. Sometimes are the focus of all the interface that got old. It's like, okay, that doesn't work with the new version, or you have a problem with your interface or whatever. If you keep something that simple, it won't be old never, because the USB connection is a universal now.
Yes.
So you have any controls on it, you can do anything on your software. And that is why we decide to don't label the outputs like L and R. It's 1 or 2, because you can run the things wherever you want by your software. You can say, you know what, I want dry on one and wet on the other. I want acoustic guitar simulation on one and electric guitar simulation on two. You can even get polyphonic MIDI with no MIDI pickup.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I saw your demo on that, and that was fantastic. That was at, I was overseas with Guitar Interactive, whatever, or was it Summer NAMM? I forget.
It was at Winter NAMM.
Okay.
It was a closed door demo because it was no release then.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, but probably I did like 20 or 25 demos, not just the Pedalboard, but with several products. But I think that probably like 15 or 20 demos with the Pedalboard to media and distributors and everything, showing exactly that kind of thing. It's like small, it's powerful. And being able to get polyphonic MIDI with no MIDI pickup is like the next level, because you can get more ideas, you can use more sounds or wherever on the same package. And even without that, it's a very powerful package to be able to use your classic amp sims and your classic pedal sims, and you can record, you can use your backing tracks and your guitar at the same time. But now being able with Jam Origin MIDI guitar and your Pedalboard of getting polyphonic MIDI with no MIDI pickup is like, for me, is mind-blowing.
Some guys and girls just don't want to stick a MIDI pickup on their guitar. You know, there are some people that just don't want to do that. So I think that's pretty cool. What's the name of the software that you tied in, like the one that you recommend to use it with?
For that MIDI proposals is Jam Origin MIDI guitar.
Okay.
You have a free version. You can try everything on the software, and you can pay for the functionalities that you want. You can get it on your iPhone, your iPad, your PC, or your Mac.
Okay.
There are many good things, because once your analog tone is digital through the Omic Pedalboard, you can turn that digital audio into polyphonic MIDI with that software, and it's great. And something even more mind-blowing is that you can create a virtual MIDI network and send that MIDI to any software. So you can control your existing software with your guitar with no MIDI pickup. What is the good thing? You can swap your instruments. It's
yes.
Like, I broke the string. Oh, but it's my MIDI pickup guitar. I don't have a replacement. But you can swap the guitar, or you can put the bass, or you can even sing and get MIDI of your microphone.
Wow, that's crazy.
You want to hear it? I think that we can do it.
Let's try it. Let's try it.
Okay. Okay.
It'll be fantastic.
Yeah. Classic blues Saraceno time.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's a very old guitar. So this is the thing. This is the thing. Okay. Okay, here it is. Okay, this is my, I'm not sure if it's loud enough because it's a little bit late, but this is my guitar directly to line.
Okay, no, that's good. That's good level.
It's good enough?
Yep.
Okay, this is the guitar to the Omic Pedalboard to the Mac, and back to the monitors. I'm only opening a MIDI setting. And yeah, we can hear, I don't know, a synth, for instance, or a piano or wherever, immediately.
Okay. It sounds very nice.
It sounds good, but you can go for rock organ. And the cradle would rock.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can go for anything. It's and it's a regular guitar. There's no MIDI pickup. There's nothing but jack.
That is absolutely fantastic. I mean, the polyphonic capabilities. A lot of times you hear tracking issues, and it's just amazing.
Now you can even tell the software that you will be doing bendings or glissandos or wherever, and the software is ready. So whenever it feels something is like, okay, this is a bending. Solved.
I got to tell Jennifer Batten about this, because she does a lot of really crazy stuff with MIDI, and I don't know, I forget what she's using, and she's one of the ones that says she insists she has to travel light. If it doesn't fit in the suitcase, then she won't travel with it. And I know she's doing crazy MIDI stuff. I don't know what she's using right now. She's told me a few times and I forget, but I definitely want to turn her on to this.
She's probably using Fishman triple play or something like that.
That could be. That could be. I'm going to double check on that. But this
is great. The Fishman triple play, I used to use that in the past. It's great. And it's Bluetooth and everything, but you have to install the system on your guitar.
Yeah.
It's a MIDI pickup and a MIDI system, and you can connect that by Bluetooth. But it's something bad for me that I play in big arenas. The thing is that you cannot send that Bluetooth signal long enough, but you can sync that with a wireless transmitter the long that you need.
So you can actually send it with a wireless?
Yeah, because it's a regular jack.
Right, okay. Wow, that's fantastic.
You have that jack for a wireless unit, and you can keep your iPad with your backline.
That's absolutely fantastic.
It's a good bonus, isn't it?
It is.
Like, wow, you have an interface, but you can do that mini thing. Wow.
That's fantastic. We've got about 15 minutes left on the program. I want to say hi to some more people here in a second in the chat. But before we do that, one of the biggest things we kind of teased up for the whole night was the Dirty Boy T.A.E. So you told me how you kind of started working with Blues and his father. His father was making the pedals for Blues, and you kind of got the dad's blessing to kind of take the torch a little bit and run with it a bit. So kind of tell us a little bit more about what that pedal does, and explain how there's a kind of a little tiny bit of a nod to Eddie Van Halen in there with some of the technology. And maybe you can show, do you have one you can show us tonight as well too? Yeah, okay. The thing is that the Dirty Boy is an evolution from the previous design that is the 1964, that is basically a box in a box. Right. Long story short, we take that and we create that one. That is the bad boy in town. That's a beautiful looking pedal. I mean, I've always said this before too. You can take anything and put it in a pretty box and make it look good, but that looks good. So you've sold us on the looks of it. Tell us what it does inside. Okay, the thing is, what we have here is a recreation of the original Dirty Boy amp. You have a tube amp with a Bayreact. This is an actual Bayreact simulator inside. We came with the idea, and Carlo made an amazing work of art of putting pretty everything inside. And the pedal itself has even a true coil audio transformer hang on. But you can check, for instance, you have an input, you have a remote, so you can control both switches remotely by MIDI or wherever. Nice. You have the emulated output and the non-emulated output. So you have your gain, your tone, your volume, and your boost. And you can switch your boost independently of the T.A.E side. You have the T.A.E side that you have the gain, tone, and volume, and the Bayreact. And you can control the boost with the other switch. So you have a kind of two channels amp, like the original amp. Mm-hmm. And the 1964, being a more box-oriented pedal, the cabinet emulation is more like a 2x12 open back cabinet loaded with a Nico Blue. You have a 4x12 greenbacks closed back here. And the Bayreact, the thing is emulated, is emulating a real
variac that is getting kind of a sag effect on your tone. Like Eddie was running the amp like 90 volts instead of 110 or 120.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can get more fuzziness in a way, like dragging the amp a little lower. So you can do the same thing. It's like, okay, you can turn the variac down, and it's like you're cutting the voltage.
Gotcha.
Like real deal. Because the thing is that the Dirty Boy amp has the variac inside the front panel, like it's down here. This is the grill of the front panel of the Dirty Boy amp.
So for people that don't understand the technology, it's almost like, you know, people always hear about Eddie with the variac, but I mean, I think people have actually experienced it without even really knowing it. You could have like a little transistor radio, or, you know, like those, like I've got one of those little micro stacks, you know, the Marshall they make them for everybody, Marshall, Fender, EVH, all those kind of things. They're just like a novelty amplifier. It takes a 9-volt battery. You're playing through it, and when that battery's on its last limb, there's just enough battery to power it up, but it's fuzzy because it's starving. Right, you're starving the amplifier for the power.
Exactly. This is the same thing. I'm not sure about the reason, but I think that Eddie wanted to get his distorted sound, but with less volume.
Yeah, because he's getting in trouble all the time.
To put the amp in starving, it's like, oh my god, that type of flavor, allowing him to play probably not. I'm not sure at home, but probably just to rehearse.
Oh yeah. So here's the question: what's the end result as far as the proof is in the pudding? When Blues got to hear this thing, what was his first reactions?
Okay, we were working, Carlo and I, like blind until this now. We got all the information that we could, and we chatted with Alex. But as I told you, we had no access due to the distances to the original amp. Mm-hmm. So we out everything and try to fill the gaps, reading a lot and saying a lot about the original amp. At this NAMM, we arranged a meeting with Alex and Blues, and we took the first prototype. That is probably the one that you've been seeing a lot on the social media. That is slightly different looking, but it's pretty the same. Mm-hmm. And we tried at NAMM, and the first reaction was, okay, this sounds very good. It sounds very good. It sounds like real deal. It sounds very good. And the thing is that they ordered 2 units. It's like, we have deal, no problem. No problem. We want to order 2 units. Alex is a true gentleman. He's absolutely true gentleman. And we rented the first 2 units for them. They received them recently, and they love them. It was like, you know what? The only thing that they asked for changing was the direction of the variacs. Like, okay, you know what? We want that clockwise, not anti-clockwise.
Okay. So more sag by turning it clockwise.
Exactly. The thing is that the original amp, that way, the amp sounds full.
Okay.
And that way, you're starving the amp.
Okay.
It's like, okay, you have like 112 volts, and you're like 90, like 70, and you're serving the thing. So after 2 years working, the only thing that Alex kindly asked was, would you mind to reverse electrically the pot to have the same effect like the original amp? I said, you know what?
Sure.
We can do that. And we solved that for the production models, and this is out.
So how is this purchasable now? Do dealers carry them? Are they direct through your company, or?
We have both. We are creating a proper retail structure in different countries, but being that sold out that we have been, it's like, okay, we didn't want to have the retailers waiting for the units, so we decided to start by reverb.com by now, or through our website or wherever. But yeah, we're creating a proper structure to be able to cover the high demand.
Okay.
So by now it's available on Reverb, but it will be both the 1964 and the Identifiable will be available worldwide through a proper dealer and retailer structure. Very, very soon.
That's good to hear. And I think it's also awesome, too, that you're working with an artist such as Blues who's so passionate. When I spoke with him before, I mean, he could talk he would come on the show and probably talk every night for 3 hours and just never tell the same story. He's so passionate about his instrument. He's proud of his dad. It's really cool to see family working so close together like that. But I think that's great for both of you to be working together. You kind of took something that his dad worked with and you've put a spin on it. And he's proud of it. I think that's a great thing for you. It's a great thing for him.
No, for me, it's a dream come true. And I can talk for our company, for Massive Unity, and I can talk probably for my brother in town, Carlo. That is a milestone for us, being both used to work with artists, but being a long-term fan. I can tell you, this magazine, I've been with that magazine from the 90s. It was on my bedroom when I was a kid. And this is the guy. It's like, oh, it happened. It happened. If you work hard enough, good things happen.
Nothing is impossible. You never thought you'd be on a record with Brian May, right? You never thought that. And you never thought you'd be working with Blue Saraceno and some of these other artists. So that's the thing. Set your sights on something and never give up on it.
Never give up.
That's right. Because when you do, there's someone else that's going to be right there with the same dreams, and they're going to get it first.
Yeah, the good dreams are the good dreams are very common. Everyone wants to get good life and some happiness and good things coming. If you're prepared to catch the rainbow, go for it.
That's right. No, that's very well said. And that's the thing too. And where a lot of people drop off is they have the dreams, but they think it's going to be easy for them, and they get discouraged right away and they drop off. But that's also a good thing, in some cases, because I don't mean to discourage people for giving up on their dreams, but it does make room for the other people that are working for it and not giving up on an invention. There's somebody, I'm sure you have colleagues that you've talked to. I had an idea for a product one time and I gave up on it. And they might have told you what it was. And you're like, why didn't you follow through on it? Always follow through. It's like a golf swing, right? I sometimes, give people advice when I say, go out and do something in life like a game of golf. Don't go out there and try to get par your very first time, but you get a couple overs. Give yourself realistic goals. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, always follow through on no matter what it is that you do.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that happened with Orange. If you had not, spoke with them and thought, what, I'm too scared, you put the trust in their hands, you followed through, and look where it got you.
100%.
I'm really
that's the story of my life.
Yeah, I'm really excited to learn more about Orange. Like, obviously, I've known the brand. They're out there. They have great marketing teams. There's actually a dealer. Actually, there is a dealer in my local area that carries some of the smaller stuff of Orange. I'm going to check it out. But I just have massive respect for them for the way they treated you, and I'm very happy to see a nice working relationship between the two of you. So that's awesome. We're almost at the end of the program, so I just want to say hi to a couple of people over in the chat that I didn't get a chance to say hi to. One of our regulars here, Quentin James, is here as well too. Chad Boston is here as well. Dak Tar is here. Dak Tar made a funny statement, and this is totally me as well. When we're talking about taking things apart and putting them back, he says, I always had parts left over. I even have parts left over when I build something new. I'll go get a barbecue from the hardware store, like here in Canada, we have a thing called Canadian Tire or Walmart and things like that. We'll buy things there and you got to build them. And I'll be done and I'll have like an extra grill left over. And the wife will say, they don't come with extra grills. You missed something somewhere, right? But that's like a lot of us Dactar, so you're not alone. Terry's here as well too. Jason Wade's taken off. And Carlos loves hearing these stories. And we've got the last link here to... actually, it's a link to our show. So she's saying, share this on Facebook or Twitter, please, as well, too. And Robert Ortiz saying that's very good. Probably commenting on your demo you're doing with the polyphonic MIDI. And Robert says, damn, you're a very talented, great work. Danny, you're a very talented, great work. And the other interface Danny made is great. And Nocturnal Butterfly has got the link to Orange amps as well, too. And sorry, Rick Hefner, he's just jumping in and says, hey, guys, just tuned in. Let me catch up. This broadcast will be available to replay back probably in about 15 minutes after it's done. But I hope you had a good time. It's nice to finally have you here. And Danny, as you're new to the show, what we try to do, our motto here on the show is just we like to be the warm-up band per se for the weekend. So we like to warm up everyone's weekend and send them off and have some fun. So I hope you had a good time. I had a great time having you. I learned a lot. I knew you were going to be very insightful, and just learning about the Orange being one of the first companies making digital. And it's so funny too. You said it was so expensive for them at the time to do it, and now you look at I don't want to say necessarily all digital, but most solid state amplifiers as we know them today are what we normally would gravitate to on a budget. But back then it was so expensive to make them. It's kind of funny how it's gone 360 or 180, I guess.
100%. I have to say thank you for having me. I've been absolutely at home with you and your guys online asking things, and it was quite interactive. So thank you very much, Eric. I'm absolutely glad. And anytime I will try to get some more good stories for you.
I would love to have you back, and we'll do it. And you're going to be doing, obviously, I shouldn't even have to ask this, but you're a NAMM champion. You'll be at Winter NAMM in Anaheim?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good, because it looks like Junior and I are going to be there. So we'll look forward to meeting you, and we'll grab a beer or grab coffee or whatever it may be, and we'll meet up and maybe do some demos with you as well, too. That'll be a lot of fun. I look forward to it.
It sounds like a plan. Yeah, we should take you and Junior to the Bubblegum or something like very Anaheim thing. Okay.
All right. We'll look forward to it. We'll be in touch beforehand, but what we'll do as well, too, is either just before NAMM, getting closer towards that, or maybe just after NAMM, I'll send out an invitation to you again and have you come back on the show, and you can tell us about what's new, even just in your personal life, if you're doing stuff band-wise, or if it's product invention-wise, and who knows what. But I'll certainly have you back. I know fans will love to have you as well.
Absolutely. Let's make it happen.
Awesome. That's great. Everyone's giving some great feedback in the chat as well, too. Dak Tarsa's great show. Eric, Bobby, Clipper, have a great weekend, everyone. Please, if you enjoyed this program, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And follow the links in the description down below for all of Danny's links. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's the YouTubes, all the good stuff. Find out more about what he's doing. And Danny, don't go away. I'm going to say goodbye to you off the air. Everyone, you have a fantastic weekend. We'll look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Don't forget our merchandise link as well, too, is in the chat, broadstash.com. Everything from EVH Gear TV, Helix Hour, Kramer Corner, and our own brand as well. All right, everyone, have a fantastic weekend. We will see you very soon. Until next time, cheers.
Hey, you're still here? Eric Jr. here, reminding you to check out our full lineup of quality merch. Available right now in the Broadstash Boutique. Quality products and fast shipping. Visit broadstash.com today.
I am now on Patreon. If you enjoy my content and wish to support my channel and what I do, then please check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/EVH Gear TV. Your support assures the continued growth of this channel and a fun community in which to share our love for Van Halen, music gear, and much more.
My name is Eric and I'm playing Wolverine guitar.
Video production services provided by Design 39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs. Microphones for EVH and Gear TV are provided by Rode Microphones, and official Van Halen merchandise is provided by VanHalenStore.com.